Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. I'm Nate Dogg here with my co-host Devonair D. Jackson to predict championship weekend game day pick'ems. D, Christmas has come early, the weekend we've all been waiting for. I can't wait to wake up on Friday morning and Saturday morning as we've got a great slate of games. But before we jump right into it, let's start off with our records as they currently stand. I personally had a horrible week this past week. I tried to go with almost every upset possible, and unfortunately finished the weekend at 2-5, and I believe you finished 4-3. So overall, D, you are currently 40-35, and I am 45-30. And since we're picking 10 games today, anything is possible, D. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to me. May the best man win. But D, without further ado, let's jump right into it because we've got some great games to discuss. Let's first start off with the Conference USA Championship game. This is played on Friday at 7 p.m. on CBS SN. Western Kentucky versus UTSA. This will be a championship game that's actually played in home field advantage at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. The Roadrunners get the home field advantage, but Western Kentucky actually favored in this one by 2.5 points right now. D, who do you have winning this Conference USA Championship game?
UTSA has had a really good season, man. We picked them as our team of the week. And, we've had their running back Sincere McCormick as the Heisman of the week, 1 week. It's a very tough matchup to pick. Like you said, Western Kentucky being favorite, man. I'm going to go Western Kentucky. They're 8-4 this year, but I think that their offense will be able to put up points against UTSA. We love UTSA here at Heisman Talk, but I'm going to go Western Kentucky. You got, Bailey Zappe for Western Kentucky. He's thrown 52 touchdowns this year. And so, we know that they can score points, but can they stop Sincere McCormick and Frank Harris on offense for UTSA? That's going to be the big question for Western Kentucky. I think they get enough stops and score enough touchdowns to win the game and the championship.
D, I'm going to have to disagree with you out of the gate. Look, we know that Western Kentucky can put up points. Yes, they're very good at passing the ball, but they can't run the ball. They're one-dimensional. And if UTSA can drop back in coverage, and I think they can, I think they've allowed an average of 225 yards through the air this year. But if they can drop back, we know they're capable of bull rushing and rushing and getting to the quarterback. And they've also had a few games where they've had 2 pick sixes. Give me the UTSA Roadrunners. Congratulations to them for an amazing season, unlike no other. Jeff Traylor, head coach for the Roadrunners, has done a tremendous job there so far. Just signed a contract extension. This would be their biggest win yet, and I think they get it done at home. Don't forget they have the home field advantage too, and that Alamo Dome is going to be rowdy. And it's off campus, so they can drink all they want. So it's going to be extra rowdy. Give me the UTSA Roadrunners. Shout out to my family in San Antonio. Birds up for this one. So moving right along, we go to another Friday championship matchup. That is the Pac-12 Championship game. They're actually moving this game this year to Las Vegas in the new Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium. This is a 8 o'clock kickoff, like I mentioned, on Friday on ABC. Utah versus Oregon. The number 10 Ducks versus the number 17 Utah Utes. Utah got the best of the Ducks in the last game they played 2 weeks ago, and they're currently favored in this matchup by 2.5 points as well. D, who comes out on top this time around?
Yeah, Nate, you just mentioned the first matchup, man. My big question for Oregon is, can they get stops? They gave up 38 points to Utah in that first matchup, and it was just, it was a rout, man. It's a really tough game to pick because you don't think that Oregon's defense is going to come out and play that bad. They have a lot of talented guys on that defensive side of the ball. But Cameron Rising has, ever since he's, stepped in, their stock has really just been rising. So, it's really, really, fitting for them. And I'm going to go with Utah, man. Really, really tough pick. It's tough to beat a good team twice. I think Oregon's a pretty good team. But I do think that Vegas gets this one right. And I think that Utah should be the favorite team. And I think Utah wins the game.
Vegas gets it right in Vegas. Kind of ironic. I really think this game comes down to which Anthony Brown are we going to see? We've seen an Anthony Brown at Ohio State come out hungry, and he played dominant. And guess what? Oregon won. And then we've seen him come out at Utah and completely lay an egg. No pun intended. And yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you in this one. Look, Utah is one of the most balanced teams I've ever seen in college football. I think they average a little over 200 yards rushing and passing, a combined 428 yards, I think, per game on offense. And that's going to be the difference. You can't stop them. You want to shut them down in the run? All right, Cameron Rising's going to throw. You want to take away their pass game? Then they've got a back like Tavion Thomas, who's played some of the best football he's been playing all season long. So give me the Utah Utes in this one. I think they cover the spread, actually. Give me the Utah Utes, to win the Pac-12 Championship game.
It'll be a big win for that program, man, definitely.
Oh, huge. It would be huge for them. So moving right along to the Big 12 Championship game played in Jerry's World. I've actually got the helmets behind me. Pistol Pete shining up there bright as the number 5 Oklahoma State Cowboys take on the Baylor Bears. This is a Saturday kickoff at 12 p.m. on ABC. Oklahoma State has had an impressive year. And so has Baylor, by the way, under Dave Aranda. Oklahoma State currently favored by 5.5 points. Who would have ever thought that we would have a defensive Big 12 championship game? I'm taking the under on this one, just so you know right off the bat. Who wins this defensive shootout? Who wins this defensive shootout, D?
And defensive shootout, defensive lockout. Who knows what we'll call it? But like you said, man, defense. These two teams, like you said, have really good defenses. I think Oklahoma State's defense is shockingly, just as good, probably better than Baylor's defense this year. So, the big question for me, clearly, we're trying to figure out Jerry Bohannon's health and, will the Baylor quarterback play? My big thing for this game is if Spencer Sanders can come out and play mistake-free football and give, Oklahoma State a very good game like he's been given for the past few games, I think that Oklahoma State will win. So I'm picking Oklahoma State. I think Spencer Sanders will come out and play well. I think he'll be able to use his legs. I think Dave Aranda, the Baylor head coach, will have a great game plan for Oklahoma State this time around. But I think Spencer Sanders gets it done, and I think that Oklahoma State defense wins the lockout or shootout.
Yeah, the Cowboys are currently given a 63.7% chance to win, according to ESPN.com. Oklahoma State already beat Baylor this year, by the way, 24-14. They had their way. Close game, but they had their way in the end. But like you mentioned, Jerry Bohannon, however you pronounce it, quarterback of the Baylor Bears, he suffered a hamstring injury, I believe, last week or the week before. He's been struggling, banged up. So, a lot of the media will say, well, the backup quarterback shouldn't have a problem. Schematically, they run the same offense. But, this is a different animal. You're talking about the Big 12 Championship game in Jerry's World at AT&T Stadium. And you wonder, how composed will he be? This is going to be a very hostile environment for the Baylor Bears. Not only, a lot of people, because it's neutral sighting, think that it's not going to be, but it's, like I mentioned, it's a tough task for them. I think it's going to really rely on the run game. Who wins the run game? Is it going to be Arian Smith, running back of the Baylor Bears, or is it going to be Jaron Warren of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who can consistently come up with long drives? I'm talking 5 to 7 minute drives, Possession of the ball is going to be key in this game, but I think in the end, the Oklahoma State Cowboys come out victorious and they win the Big 12 Championship game. Wow, what a win that would be. And if they win, it's going to be really hard to keep them out of that playoff spot in that top 4 because someone's going to lose this weekend. So, moving right along, we go to the MAC Championship game. 2 teams that not many people really know about. That is the Kent State Golden Flash versus the Northern Illinois Huskies. This is a Saturday kickoff, this is a Saturday game. Kickoff starts at 12 p.m. on ESPN. Kent State currently favored by 3 points. I was looking over the stats for this game. This is basically a toss-up. Who wins this game?
Yeah, man, definitely a toss-up. Both defenses, haven't been very good this year. But I'm going to go with Kent State. The reason why I think they have the better offensive weapons and quarterback Dustin Crum, running back Marquez Cooper, and receiver Dante Cephas. I just think they had the better weapons. Their stats say so, and I think that they're the better team. So I'm picking Kent State to win the game.
It's like you read my mind. I literally wrote down quarterback Dustin Crum is going to be the difference maker in this game. Over 2,700 yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions this season. He's been a difference maker all year. By the way, if you're getting bored, if you're watching the game and the Big 12 Championship on ABC, maybe click it over to ESPN because let me tell you what, there's going to be 0 defense in this game. Both teams have allowed over 30 points per game on defense. So if you want to take an over on the game, take the over on the MAC Championship game. You're going to win some big money this weekend. But in the end, I agree with you. Kent State, kind of a coin flip. 50.2% chance to win according to ESPN.com, but I'm going to take the Golden Flash as well. That's a great pick. So moving right along, we head out west to the Mountain West Championship game played at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. I don't even know where that's at. But we're going to roll with it. The Utah State Aggies take on the number 19 San Diego State Aztecs. These are 2 teams that we've kind of consistently talked about all year long, more so San Diego State than Utah State. But Utah State has been making their way up there in the rankings. This is a Saturday kickoff at 3 p.m. on Fox. San Diego State currently favored by 6 points in this one. Who wins this game?
Yeah, Nate, to start off, I want to make sure I give a shout out to my boy Slade, man, academic coordinator over at Utah State. It's a big thing for their program to be in this championship. Man, it's a tough game to pick, man. I'm going to pick San Diego State. Elite defense, man. Elite defense. I'm going against my boy Slade, man. Elite defense from San Diego State. Jordan Brookshire came in at quarterback for San Diego State last week and led a 16-point comeback victory, which was huge, man, because San Diego State has been struggling to score points. And so, with them being able to actually score points, if they can score points against Utah State, I think they'll win it. Utah State has a really, really good receiver in Devin Tompkins, and I'm sure you'll talk about him too because he's phenomenal. Led the NCAA this year in the regular season and receiving yards. Sorry, I'm gonna take San Diego State, man. I think that their defense is the lead, and I think Brookshire will step up. If Utah State is to win, they're gonna have to put up points, man. They're gonna have to put up 30 points on an elite defense, and if they don't, I don't think they will. And so, yeah, I'm gonna take San Diego State.
Yeah, Utah State has offensive weapons all around, right? You mentioned wide receiver Devin Tompkins. Quarterback Logan Bonner has had a tremendous year as well. Shout out to Slate being over there with the Aggies. Academically, I know they're doing great. But in this game, they may not put up the points that you want them to. San Diego State's given a 74.4% chance to win according to ESPN.com. That's a landslide compared to most of these games that we've seen. I don't see it happening. I think they're one-dimensional as well. Give me the San Diego State Aztecs. And might I mention, quarterback Jordan Brookshire for the Aztecs of San Diego State has been such a breath of fresh air this year. They started out really rough. They bench their starting quarterback. They bring in Brookshire, and he's been spot on. I think he went 11 for 15 last game, 170-something yards and 2 touchdowns. So, and he also uses his feet, by the way. I think he had a couple of rushing touchdowns as well in that game. Give me the San Diego State Aztecs. And shout out to our San Diego State fan. I think his name's Jay or Jake. I know you wanted to be on the show with us, but unfortunately, timing and everything else, we just couldn't work it out. But we would love to bring you on to pick them in the bowl game. So we'll be talking with you soon. Thanks for the support. So moving right along, we go to the Sunbelt Championship game, where the Appalachian State Mountaineers take on the Louisiana Lafayette Ragin Cajun, the number 24 Louisiana Lafayette Ragin Cajun. This is a 3:30 kickoff on ESPN. App State currently favored by 3 points in this one, led by quarterback and transfer quarterback from Duke and Clemson, Chase Bryce. They already beat the Louisiana Lafayette once. Can they do it again? D, who wins this game?
Yeah, man. For this one, I gotta give another shout out, man. Give a shout out to my boy Joey. He went to App State, man. He's always talking about App State. But this game, I think it's really gonna come down to Chase Bryce, man, and how Chase Bryce plays. I think that App State, is able to run the football. I think that they're, with Cameron Peoples and Nate Noel, they're able to run the football pretty well. But Chase Bryce has to play mistake-free football. First matchup didn't go App State's way. They lost 41-13. They're favored in this game, which is kind of shocking after losing. But I'm gonna take App State, man. I'm gonna pick App State. I think their defense will step up to play this game. I don't think they'll give up 40 points again, and I think that they'll be able to run the ball effectively, and Chase Bryce will come out and have his game face on in the Sunbelt Championship. So give me App State.
Yeah, App State currently given a 59.2% chance to win this game according to ESPN.com. This is going to be a tough game for the Ragin' Cajun as they lose their head coach, Coach Napier, who took the job at Florida this past week. So you wonder, can they rally together and win one last game? I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. It really is a coin flip. Look, both defenses are stout. On one side, App State giving up 18.9 points per game. On the other side, 18.5 points per game. But I think the difference maker, like you said, Chase Bryce, can he play spot-on football? And this Ragin' Cajun team has talent, but they don't have that leader in Napier, head coach Napier, with them this week. I'm going to take App State as well. I'm going to flip the coin and take the Mountaineers in this one. Give me App State. So moving right along, we go to the AAC, the American Athletic Conference Championship game, played on Saturday at 4 p.m. on ABC, where the number 21 Houston Cougars take on the number 4 Cincinnati Bearcats. This is another game that is not a neutral siting. This will be played in Cincinnati at Cincinnati Stadium. Cincinnati currently favored by 10.5 points. Can the Bearcats get in the playoff? Can they get past the Cougars for one last game and they're in? Who wins this championship game?
Man, the great thing about a lot of these conference championship games is that you have playoff implications that come with the games. This is a huge one for Cincinnati. They're trying to become the first group of 5 team to actually make it into the playoff. We've talked ad nauseum about Cincinnati, man. They have a good football team. They have a good defense. They're led by quarterback Desmond Ridder. Houston, on the other hand, they have a good team too. They've been playing very well. They're led by quarterback Clayton Tune. It's going to be fun to watch these two quarterbacks duel it out, man. At the end of the day, though, I'm going to take Cincinnati to win the game, man. I just think that they're the better team. I think it'll be a really, really good game. Both teams are really good, man. Houston they can pull the upset just because I think their defenses, they have a really, really good defense, just like Cincinnati. If Clayton Tune comes out and plays, they could win it. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati. They're favored by 10.5, I think, for a reason. So give me Cincinnati.
Yeah, dude, the main source, ESPN, CBS, all these major sport news outlets want you to believe that Cincinnati's in the playoff. They're favored by 10.5 points. They're given over an 80% chance to win this game. But let me tell you what, if the Bearcats come into this one thinking that they're just going to ride off into the sunset and make the playoffs, they're going to be sadly mistaken. Because let me tell you what, point for point, pound for pound, this will be the toughest game that they've played this season. I would say more so than Notre Dame. You want to know why? Get ready for these stats. Points per game on offense, Houston, 38.8. Cincinnati, 39.6. Points allowed on defense per game, Houston, 19.8. Cincinnati, 15.8. Look, slightly better for Cincinnati. But like I mentioned, in my opinion, Clayton Tune is the better quarterback in this game. I'm going with the upset. I'm going to take the Houston Cougars. Look, no one's giving this team a shot, which is the perfect recipe for a disaster, and that is why the Houston Cougars will be crowned AAC champions at the end of Saturday. Thank you in advance. You're welcome for everyone betting for Houston. You just won a lot of money thanks to me.
It'll be a really good game, and I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. Going to be one of the best games of the day. So then we move to one of the most surprising matchups of the weekend. That is the Big Ten Championship game. 1 week ago, we thought, it's going to be Ohio State. We both picked the Buckeyes to beat Michigan. And now we sit here in defeat. Hats off to Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines, though. My goodness, what a performance. And hey, I mentioned it was going to come down to the running game, and boy, did it ever. So with that being said, let's move on to this game. This week is what really matters. 8 o'clock kickoff on Fox. Michigan, the number two Michigan Wolverines take on the number 13 Iowa Hawkeyes. Thank you, Graham Mertz, for giving the Hawkeyes another chance to win another game. You really did Wisconsin well. But no, the Wisconsin Badgers played good. But moving to this game, Michigan currently favored by a whopping 11 points. But the Iowa defense has proven that they can win big games at some points during the season. But their offense has been lackluster. Who wins the Big Ten Championship game in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana?
Yeah, man. Simple as it gets, man. Michigan. I mean, just be for real. Spencer Petras, the quarterback for Iowa, has not had a very good season. He started off, pretty well. He was our Heisman of the week at one point in time, but he just hasn't been a very good quarterback. They're not able to really move the football. I think that Michigan's defense is elite, man. They have, two edge rushers that are both elite. And when you have two edge rushers like Aiden Hutchinson and David or Dave Ojabo, sky's the limit, and especially getting after a quarterback who hasn't had a very good season. So yeah, give me Michigan to win this game, man. I'm pretty confident that they'll be in the playoff. Like I said, playoff implications right here. I guess I should give Iowa a slight chance, but I don't.
Everyone's thinking that Michigan's going to win this game. 76.5% chance to win, according to ESPN.com. Favored by 11 points. But this game's going to be way different than this past weekend's victory because Iowa is very strong with their run defense. This is really going to come down to Cade McNamara. Can he throw efficiently? Can he hold on to the ball? And can he make some throws down the field when they need him most? Because, look, Iowa, as it stands, they're only giving up 105 yards rushing per game. And you best believe they're going to try to make Michigan one-dimensional. I think Cade McNamara, I think he's capable of doing it. And I think, like you mentioned, the Michigan defense is just as stout. Look, Michigan only allowing 17.2 points per game. Iowa 17.3. Pretty close. A toss-up there. But Where it stands differently is the offensive side of the ball. Michigan currently averaging 37.3 points per game, which is a record high for them in the Big Ten Conference. Iowa only 25.7. I'm sorry, Hawkeyes. Congratulations for making it to the Big Ten Championship, but I think Michigan wins this one by 21 points. So moving right along to another surprising game of the weekend, that is the ACC Championship game played in Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of America Stadium. And who would have thought? This game is without the Clemson Tigers. In fact, it's without some of the top teams in the ACC this year. The number 15 Pittsburgh Panthers take on the number 16 Wake Forest Deacons. This is another 8 o'clock kickoff on ABC. Pitt currently favored by 3 in this one. They're also given a 61.5% chance to win. Who wins this close matchup, D?
Man, this will be a big-time shootout, man. You got two really, really good gunslingers, man, and quarterback for Pitt, Kenny Pickett, and quarterback for Wake Forest, Sam Hartman. These two guys are, they've had phenomenal seasons and have just been able to throw the ball on anybody. The big thing is, I think that Pitt's defense is better. Wake Forest's defense has been a turnstile. They've just been giving up points and points. People have just been walking up and down the field on them, basically. So, give me Pitt to win the game. It might be close just because, both offenses are really, really good. I would venture to say elite offenses. But, yeah, definitely give me Pitt because they have the better defense.
Dude, that's a great pick. Give me Pitt for the win and give me Kenny Pickett for Heisman. Look, if this kid was playing for Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, you think he'd win the Heisman outright? Dang right he would. 40 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, over 4,000 yards. Come on. Put this kid on the map. Give him the trophy he's earned. He has been by far the best quarterback we've seen all season long. Just because he plays for the number 15 Pitt Panthers doesn't mean he doesn't deserve this award. He is, in my opinion, the most deserving of this award other than a guy that we'll mention here in a minute. But yeah, D, I think Pitt's defense pretty strong, only allowing 92 yards per game on the defensive rush side. And they're only allowing 23 points per game, 29 points per game allowed for Wake Forest. I think the Pittsburgh Panthers get the edge from this one. Like I said, give me Pitt and give me Kenny Pickett for Heisman. So then we go to the matchup of the week, the game everyone has been looking forward to ever since the beginning of the 2019 season, probably the 2010 season. As far back as you can think, this is the best game of the year every year. Everyone looks forward to it. The number 1 Georgia Bulldogs take on the number 3 Alabama Crimson Tide. This is a 4 o'clock kickoff on CBS. UGA currently favored for the first time in the matchup between these two teams by 6.5 points. You're there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I've got the helmets behind me. D, I know you're excited to be here in Atlanta for the big game. Who wins this SEC battle? I mean, and it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, man, it's definitely going to be a battle. Here in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's beautiful, but I'm going to pick UGA to win the game, man. Like you said, favored by 6.5. I think they are the better football team. They're going to have to get over that mental block, that mental hurdle of beating Nick Saban. But I think that, they'll be able to do it. I think that defense is just all time. I think they're an all-time defense. I think they're super elite. And, I think they'll be able to contain a heck of a quarterback, a heck of a talent in Bryce Young. He's a really, really good football player. But right now, they're having offensive line issues. And so with those offensive line issues, I don't see them being able to stop, Georgia from getting to Bryce Young. They didn't play very well on offense until the end of the game against Auburn. last weekend, even though it's a tough place to play. But those offensive line issues, if they don't get those shored up, Georgia could definitely, put a hurting on Alabama. But give me the Dogs to win this one.
Yeah, D, I see the seats behind you. They've got red seats in the stadium, and let me tell you what, when the game begins, those seats will still be red because the Georgia fans are going to show up for this one. This is one of the biggest years for UGA. I first want to give a congratulations and hats off to Kirby Smart, going undefeated in the SEC and overall. That's one tough task to do. Not many people have done it. In fact, Nick Saban has only done it once. Or twice, I believe. Doesn't do it often, and that's the biggest key. Georgia currently given a 66.7% chance to win this SEC championship game, which is a huge margin. Look, everyone's wondering, is Georgia going to slip up? Are they going to have the Georgia luck? But the Braves have already won the World Series, so maybe that curse is broken. Look, we all know that Georgia has the better defense. But the biggest key for me in this game, D, and no one's talking about it, is Stetson Bennett. Look, this game's going to come down to Stetson Bennett because Alabama can defend the run better than anyone just as good as Georgia in the country, right? So can Stetson Bennett play efficient football? It's going to come down, is Stetson Bennett going to get pressured? Is he going to turn the ball over? Is he going to make the right decisions when they matter most? I think he can, D. I'm going to take the Georgia Bulldogs in this one to win the SEC Championship game and send the Crimson Tide and Nick Saban home crying. Give me Georgia. Go Dogs. So, D, with that being said, that's a wrap for today. I know you think the season is over, but guess what? We're just getting started. When we come back next week, we'll discuss playoff predictions, bowl predictions, and we have a special game next week, the only game of the week, Army versus Navy on CBS. We'll be predicting that game as well. So get ready. College football is still here, and it's here to stay. As always, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already to become a part of the Heisman Talk family. We're growing rapidly. We'd love for you to be a part of it. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you share it with your friends, and make sure that bell notification is turned on so you can stay up to date when we post our latest videos. As always, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.